What's going on, YouTube world? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks once again for tuning in. You already know it. This is the Shred Academy. In today's episode, we're gonna cover the basics of how to approach a wall ride. Wall rides come to us from a BMX background. But with the creation of more and more mountain bike parks, we're starting to see more wall rides make it into our favorite riding spots. When you come across a wall ride of this magnitude on the trail, it can be a little intimidating. But after today's episode, hopefully you'll see a wall ride like this and go, I'll hit that. Hey guys, quick interjection. I just wanted to take a quick second and thank the true sponsors of this channel, and that's my Patreons. You guys make what I do possible. It's not YouTube, it's you guys, through your interactions, through your patronage. Thank you. And this month has been really hard. Wintertime for MTB isn't the greatest, and we had some van issues, and I reached out to my Patreons, and they stepped up huge. And van's going to be running again, so I just wanted to shout those guys out who really stepped up and went above and beyond. Leo Chen, Mauricio Oliveira, Kevin Bennett, Klaus Liesberg, Sylvia Outridge, Simon Zettler, Owen Thomas, and the Swiss branch of the TSA, James, the best mechanic out there. But James, Owen wants you to know to fix bikes less, ride more. And then finally, a good friend of mine, Dylan, of Dyler's Adventures. I'll put a link to his YouTube channel below. Thank you guys for helping me in my time of need. We're gonna continue making this content for you guys, and I just wanted to show my appreciation for my Patreons. Thanks. With so many different sizes, styles, and shapes of wall rides out there, there's a few characteristics in wall rides we can look for when choosing our first wall ride that are gonna help set us up for success. First thing you wanna look for is the shape of the wall ride. And by that, I mean the actual curvature of the wall ride. Finding a wall ride with very little arc to it is gonna be a lot easier to learn because your exit and entrance points are a lot less strict. You can more or less enter from a lot more positions. The next thing you should look for is the transition from trail to wall ride. Finding one that has a very mellow, easy transition, kind of like you're going into a berm, is gonna help making accepting the transition of going onto the wall a lot easier. At the same time, if you can find one with a mellow entrance and a mellow exit, that's gonna make the transition from wall ride to trail that much easier. The last thing you wanna look for is maybe a wall ride that's not a straight up wall. The more angle a wall ride has, the more forgiving it is with your form. Now that we've talked about picking your first wall rides, let's talk about the 3 rules of wall rides. Number 1, never lean into the wall. Number 2, never lean into the wall. And finally, number 3, the most important, never lean into the wall. Now let's actually talk about executing the wall ride. And the first thing we can do is to stop thinking about this as a wall, but as a really steep berm. For example, this berm right here eventually almost becomes straight up and down. Just me touching it, dirt will fall down. Now, if I'm riding my bike and want to get up on this high portion of the berm, I'm gonna need some speed. And if I don't have any speed, I'm gonna more or less go up and have to come right back down. The same thing can be said for wall rides. If you want to be on them for a longer amount of time, you're gonna need to come in with more speed. Now, I've done some testing for you guys, and on a fairly steepish wall ride like this one, 10 miles an hour is about the slowest you can go. Now, if it's a little more mellow, you might be able to go a little slower. But let's just start out by saying 10 miles an hour is a good speed to start hitting a wall ride. Now that I've got my 10 miles an hour, how do I get on the wall? Now, when we talk about getting on the wall, by far probably the most intimidating part, we also need to understand how our entrance on the wall is going to affect our path on the wall. The more of a straight on angle you come at the wall, the higher you're going to go, but you're not going to go as far on the wall. And it's also probably going to create a very harsh impact when you're trying to get up on the wall. As you take a way angle and enter the wall, you're going to create a more distance path rather than height, and you're going to need speed to keep you pushed against the wall to create G-forces to keep you planted there, and as well speed to get any height on the wall. All in all said, if you're just starting out, trying to enter the wall at almost a 45-degree angle is going to be your best bet. Don't get super angled at it because you're going to feel yourself getting pulled into the wall. Don't get really close to the wall because you're going to find yourself sliding down the wall because you're not too comfortable leaning away from the wall yet. As I approach the wall at 10 miles an hour and at a 45-degree angle and I reach the wall, we need to do two things. We need to help the front wheel get up on the wall and make this somewhat direction change.
To initiate this direction change, I'm going to execute a small but firm front wheel lift at the base of the wall ride to help the front wheel make the direction change from trail up to the wall without being a big, harsh occurrence. But just like the bike is making a direction change, I'm also making a direction change.
And we also need to accept this direction change as well. So just like a jump that we have to accept the transition, we're going to have to accept this one, but this one happens a lot faster and is a little bit harsher.
As you're creating your front wheel lift and accepting the transition, just be aware that the steeper the wall that you have to go on, the more you're going to feel a force trying to shove you into the wall. And it's important to try to keep your distance from your handlebars to stay in control.
Now, as I do this, we're going to remember rules 1 through 3 of wall rides. Don't lean in to the wall. So you're traveling up the wall, now what? Well, as you start to lose speed, you need to make a direction change to come back down to the trail. Now, on a wall ride that has a lot of, we'll call it berm to it, you're going to be using a lot more leaning of the bike, more cornering form than steering form, turning the handlebars. Now, I don't want you to quickly steer as you're trying to make these direction changes. Make sure that you're creating a nice smooth arc on the wall. Turn your bars slightly, make sure you're not leaning into the wall, and actually rotate your hips to where you want the bike to go.
And be cautious, you're just not riding up the wall until you stall out to make your turn. Be sure to start to make your arc towards the ground when you have plenty of speed. More speed is going to help you feel more comfortable leaning away from the wall. Notice again, I am slightly turning the handlebars, I'm looking where I want to exit, and my hips are also looking where I want to go. Basically pointing my belly button wherever my eyes are looking. That's going to help the rear end of the bike come around. Onwards to the next feature.
So you've traveled up the wall, you've made your direction change, and now you're kind of riding down the wall, and you need to make the transition from wall to trail again.
Just like entering the wall right at a 45-degree angle kind of made the transition from trail to wall a little bit smoother, the same thing can be said for exiting the wall and going from wall to trail. A 45-degree angle is going to help with the transition, making it a little smoother. Also, as you're making that final transition, make sure that you're not overturning your front tire, because that can cause your tire to get caught, twisted even more, and then you go over the bars. So make sure you're getting that wheel a little straighter as you're making contact with the trail. And as well, you want to make sure that you keep wide elbows so that you can absorb this harsh transition. I will say my elbows have fallen in a little bit, and you can see how I kind of have to absorb this way instead of having wide elbows and being able to absorb a little easier. But nevertheless, making sure that you're ready for this big direction change and not getting thrown over the bars is key. As well, as soon as that rear tire sets down, make sure you're setting the rest of your weight back into that bottom bracket, and you're always looking ahead at your next feature. Should be fine. Final words of caution about using your brakes on a wall ride. Any type of over braking can cause the back tire to lose its traction, lock up, and slide. Same thing can happen for the front tire. So if you are going to brake on the wall ride, make sure you're being gentle.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for our episode on wall rides. I hope that you feel a little more confident on how to choose your first wall ride and then what to do when you get there. If you liked this episode, please remember to let me know in the comments. And always make sure to like, share with your friends, and make sure you're all subscribing. We have a goal of 10,000 subscribers. Now, if you want to see the channel survive and continue to grow, please consider becoming a paid Patreon. My Patreons make it possible for me to create this content without the stress of knowing if I'm going to be able to pay my bills. Along with my Patreons and what very little I actually do make from YouTube, it all kind of gets me to where I need to be. Now, if this video really helped you and you want to show your appreciation, please use my Venmo or my PayPal link in the video description. It's also donations like that that really help me be able to get gas, dog food, all those types of things. Finally, if you want to rep the Shred Academy with a little bit of merch, please go to the store that's in the video description and get some merch. Now, if I don't see it till the next video, please remember to ride hard, ride safe, be kind to each other, guys, on the trail and off. A smile in the grocery store can go a mile. Now, if I do see you on the trail, please remember to come say hello. I want to thank you for your support and find out why you love mountain biking just as much as I do. But until that time, guys, make sure to keep the rubber side down. Smiles coming.